I'm Rob Compa, guitar player for the band Dopapod. I'm here at the Aggie Theater in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I am participating in Premier Guitar's Hooked series, where they ask guitar players to talk about riffs or songs that either got musicians into guitar in the first place or just sort of push them to learn new things on their instrument. Which is very fun for me to talk about. So the riff I just played, or passage, whatever you want to call it, is a song by the band Phish, and it's an excerpt from a song called Punch You in the Eye. And I discovered that song really the same time that I discovered Phish, who's like one of my favorite bands ever. I bought a videotape of like sort of rock documentary following the band around, called Bittersweet Motel. I didn't know anything about the band, and I bought the videotape for like $5. And at the end of the video, there was all this bonus concert footage, and one of the songs was that song, Punch You in the Eye. And I think what really like lit me up even before I knew that I liked the song was all the footage was taking place at a concert in my hometown of Rochester, New York, which I just thought was really cool. That probably wouldn't be a big deal to somebody who grew up in Chicago or some big city, but my little town of Rochester, New York was in this movie I just bought. They showed the skyline and everything, and I just thought that was so cool, and I was like, oh man, I think that's a sign. So the song, I mean, that one little portion of it, I think, and I'll address this maybe a little more in a more detailed way, but the first thing I can think of that really blew my mind about that song was how big of a rabbit hole it went down in so many ways. First off, that one passage is just the middle of the tune. The rest of the tune doesn't sound anything like that. It's kind of like 4 songs smushed together, a lot like maybe like another example I could think of would be like You Never Give Me Your Money by the Beatles. And it's this sprawling kind of like epic rock song. So that's one bit of a rabbit hole. And then I found out that that riff that I just played, is actually an entire other Phish song altogether called The Landlady, that they used to play it a lot slower. They would play it. It was like kind of like this Latin slow tempo, really cool thing. And then they decided they wanted to play it really fast and stick it in the middle of this other song. So that was another really insane rabbit hole for me to become aware of, was that the potential for songs to just completely evolve or change or become parts of other songs or return to being the song that they originally were is just mind-blowing, the potential for creativity there. And that song, is Punch You in the Eye, is contained in this giant rock opera that Phish wrote about this crazy kind of, you know, fantasy world and everything, and that's part of it. So the rabbit hole, just I quickly discovered, just went deeper and deeper and deeper with that band. On a guitar level, that song is really important to me. That passage is really important to me because it made me aware of the existence of complex chord progressions and harmony that allowed for, not even allowed for, but required playing specific notes that pertain to each chord. You couldn't just use the blues scale necessarily and be okay. With that one, you kind of can actually, but it made me aware of the concept of what is called playing over changes. There's this very elaborate series of chords underneath all of it that goes like this. And I just thought that was so cool. I think that little passage of music has a lot to do with me as a youngster deciding to be open-minded enough to study other kinds of music, and eventually led me to even going to school and studying some jazz music, where I met my band at that school. I don't consider myself a jazz musician necessarily, but the fact that it even opened me up to dedicate myself to being the best whatever type of musician I am that I could possibly be, I think that song actually is responsible for a lot of that. I think that tune and a lot of other songs, a great thing about them is that songs that give you breakthroughs like that lead to 10 other songs that give you a similar breakthrough. And I feel like that song did that for me. Through that, if I hadn't discovered that, I probably wouldn't have gone to school for music. I wouldn't have learned a lot of other music that made me a better musician. And I think I have that song, Punch You in the Eye, to thank for a lot of that. So, have a great day. Go learn something new. And have fun while you do it. Bye-bye, everybody.